Is there room for compromise between principles?
If I want to kill you and behead you, unless you convert to the religion I dictate, what would be the place of compromise?
Well, I would not mind converting, as I myself am an agnostic, so have no faith. Have no established faith.
Hey guys, my name is Modi and you are welcome to Modi Speaks. Guys, I pity the West. I really do. Because it seems like there is a large wool covering the eyes of most Westerners. A particular type of danger is rapidly overtaking the Western world, and this particular danger is doing this overtaking without firing a single shot. But Westerners seem to have no idea what is happening to them. They seem to have no clue what is going on. For context, these are the people ruling the United Kingdom. Now, this might sound like a joke, but it is not, okay? I am very serious. And no, this is not Pakistan or Iran. This is the United Kingdom. These are the people who decides what is Islamophobia in the UK. They are the people that decide whether Muhammad gets deported or spared if he is caught raping a 9-year-old girl. Now, when I see the influx of undocumented immigrants from Mexico, from Venezuela, from China, from the Philippines, from Colombia, etc., pouring into the US, into Germany, into Canada, France, you name it, I don't feel terrified. I don't get this urgent sense of alarm. Urgency, of course. Illegal and mass immigration is very destructive to any country, especially when the people immigrating do not possess or have the necessary skills needed to improve the country they are illegally immigrating into, okay? These guys are migrating into this country illegally. They are already criminals by breaking the law, and a greater number of them might already be dangerous criminals prior to even entering the country. They will steal all the regular unskilled and blue-collar jobs from the regular citizens of the country they sneaked into. They would destabilize the economy and cause other problems like that. But at least these immigrants, these illegal immigrants, are Christians or Hindus or maybe Buddhists or something other than, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So they terrify me, but they don't terrify me as much, because all you need to do is to just set up a set of necessary policies just like Donald Trump did, and you will fix this problem as soon as possible. But when I see military-aged men in boats tearing apart their passports, their only documents of identification, when I see these so-called asylum seekers shouting Allahu Akbar even before their feet touches the shores of these Western nations, I shiver, because I know what that means. Unlike the Catholics from Mexico, unlike the Hindus from India, unlike the Buddhists from China, okay, they are seeking to dominate the world, establish an caliphate all over the world. This is a motive they have proudly and publicly declared over and over and over again.
We don't say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate the world. It was sent to be superior, to extinguish the light of every other religion and to be superior to it. We're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say. That this religion has been sent to dominate, to wipe out, to take out every other religion, to eclipse it, to be superior to it, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest.
It will reach everywhere the night and the day reaches. That means the entire globe. Whether the kuffar like it or not, there will be no house, there will be no residence that Allah will leave except that Allah causes Islam to enter it. No house on the face of this earth will be free from the religion of Islam. This is a promise from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a promise.
So they have a mission to convert everybody and exterminate those who refuse conversion. According to them, if you are not converted, you are an infidel, and the only way to deal with you is to chop off your head. Now, don't take my word for it, okay? Take theirs.
We are put on this earth to protect the reputation of Allah and Muhammad.
Yeah.
By killing anybody who's their enemies, their human enemies on earth. Allah has human enemies on earth, and my role as a Muslim is to kill his enemies on earth.
When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. In return, when enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you. Subhanallah, for this little money? Yes. And you enjoy sitting in your homes and in your country and live your life normally. But the ruling is for Sharia. So you do not open nightclubs, you do not fornicate. If they refuse, then...
So I shiver when I see them dominate political positions in the West. I shiver when I see them immigrate in droves to the West. I shiver because I understand what this means. But unfortunately for many in the West, they don't understand this, okay? And that is why this college student in this video was able to spew the level of ignorance he vomited in this particular video. Take a look.
I would like to reiterate the thanks for your time here at the University of Austin. What I wanted to ask you was, you speak of Islamophobia and classes like Black Studies as phony ideological things, but I was curious as to what makes them different. What makes white supremacy different, or like Islamophobia so different from anti-Semitism, as there, we did import many African slaves that died in the millions, and so did South American countries even more so. We did force Native Americans on forced marches and genocide. There are Muslims being massacred in China today. So what makes anti-Semitism so different?
Two things. One is we have reckoned in America and in Western European countries, we've had a great reckoning with our past. We've addressed the fact that we engaged in slavery, we fought a war, we ended it. We had segregation, we had another major fight, we ended it. We had the civil rights movement. We brought women out of, and by the way, in fighting for all of those emancipations, the people who were heading these fights were constantly quoting from the Bible. They were believing Christians and they were inspired by their Christianity. So number one, we had that reckoning. Number two, anti-Semitism is the oldest hatred in humanity, and you find it, believe it or not, across the entire world. What made the West different after they nearly exterminated their Jews was to have that honest look in the mirror and reckon with what they did. And then those campaigns to end it. Islamophobia is a made-up word. It's made up by a political movement that wants to exploit and capitalize on white guilt to achieve its end goal, which is the revival of the caliphate. And the revival of the caliphate is to convert all of us into Islam, whether we like it or not. Those of us who refuse to do that, we will surely be beheaded. I'm sure I'm on top. And that is their end goal. And so they're exploiting these Western part of subversion. This is just a guest speech, but I wish that at some point someone here could start a lecture series on subversion, on active measures, on asymmetric warfare. That would get you interested in what it is that the Islamists are doing and how they've become so successful against these great nations with this incredible military and economic structures, and yet the Islamists are winning. Islam is spreading. They're doing better today than they were doing in 2001 after they hit us and we invaded Afghanistan. They've got Afghanistan back. They have Iraq back. They have Syria. And these Muslim governments are they're shaking in their boots. They're worried about what could happen to them because of the Islamist movement, and that's why the Islamist movement came here. And they're exploiting principles like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, and so on. And of course, these progressive movements that we have here, we've got to understand that, and we've got to become really creative in finding a way of preserving our principles. I don't want to give up on the freedom of speech, but on the other hand, on beating the Islamists at their game.
Is there room for compromise between principles?
If I want to kill you and behead you, unless you convert to the religion I dictate, what would be the place of compromise?
Well, I would not mind converting, as I myself am an agnostic, so have no faith, have no established faith. However, I understand that some people would not share that vision. So,
let's play with this thought for a while. There's a time and a place for everything, and for some of the people, say in places like Africa, we don't talk about this, but Islamists are active in Africa and violently so. If you're a Christian in Egypt or a Hindu in parts of Pakistan, and you have someone looking at you and saying, you'll either lose your head or you convert to Islam, it makes sense to consider converting to Islam. But here today, for us to have the attitude of, well, we'll see what happens, and if we get to that point, I'll just convert, I will say, are you sure? Maybe you want to get educated on what would happen once you convert. What would your life be like, and the life of your sisters and women? What would they do to the Jews? He has said, this man, I repeat it, he said they're bacteria and they're microbes. And in the video that I showed you, they made it very clear it has nothing to do with Palestine. It has everything to do with them being Jewish. So they are going to annihilate the Jews. Will you stand by and watch that? Maybe I should give Introduction to Islam and Islamism as a lecture series, and once you understand what it's all about, you might develop a backbone.
I would look forward to that greatly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to commend the United States for not totally going bonkers and giving into the ideologies of the religion of peace. In many parts of Western Europe, this brave woman, her name by the way is Ayaan Hirsi Ali, okay? Now, she would not be able to conduct this speech in public without being arrested or without a serious riot breaking out. So thank you, the United States of America, for holding on to sanity. Now, that college kid, oh my God. Oh my goodness. Talk about totally brainwashed and extremely and painfully ignorant. He is basically saying that since the West at a point in history engaged in slavery, then that means it is okay to extremely hate Jews in today's society. That is basically what a guy who has spent almost 17 years in academic learning is saying. Can you imagine that? That is so disappointing, guys. But what is more scary is his response after hearing what this woman said would surely happen to people who refuse to convert to Islam. Well, I'm an agnostic. I don't really believe in any religion. So maybe when they threaten to chop off my head, I'm just going to give in and convert to Islam so as to not have my head chopped off. This is where I fear for the West. People like this are the reason I shiver when I see those Muslim leaders quickly dominating political positions in the West. When I see the population of the religion of peace practitioners increasing at exponential rate. When I see those military-aged men coming on boats claiming to be asylum seekers. Because people like this college guy do not understand what is at stake here, okay? So they allow their leftist ideology to cloud their common sense. This woman was very brilliant in her delivery. She hit the nail on the head very bravely, and I suggest you go and watch her full story. She literally lived through hell during her younger days in her home country of Somalia. She has tasted the consequences of Islam, so she most definitely knows what she's talking about. You can go check up her story. I think it's on the internet. You can go read it up or watch it. Now, I'm going to close by saying this, and this is for those of you who are going to come to the comment section, write me emails trying to criticize me, claiming that I am generalizing and that not all Muslims believe or practice the violent teachings of Islam. Now listen. Is a violent religion. It mandates you to kill and to decimate people who disagree with it, so-called infidels, okay? Disagrees with Christians, Muslims, Hindus, agnostics, atheists. All these guys are enemies of under Islamic rule, which is Sharia law, okay, they will either have to convert to Islam or have their head chopped off. Now, any Muslim who does not practice these or who does not support these teachings as it is written in Islamic law is not a Muslim. If you claim to be a Muslim, yet you do not believe that thieves must have their hands chopped off, adulterers must be stoned to death, and non-Muslims must be beheaded, then you, my dear, are not a Muslim. You are just pretending. If you are a Muslim and you believe that your Allah accepts the alphabet people, you, my friend, are not a Muslim. True Muslims believe in Sharia, okay? They believe that even if you are the most righteous individual on the face of the planet, if you do not succumb to their religion and become part of them, then you should lose your life. That is Islam in its purest form. I do not know how you can reconcile this kind of ideology with Western beliefs, yet some Westerners, like this college guy, seem to be open to this destruction. This morning, I saw a video of very young Australian school children in Australia who are being sent to mosques and forcing them to participate in Islamic prayer. Meanwhile, in this same Australia, Christianity is banned from Aussie public schools because it is offensive to Muslims. I won't even show that video in its entirety. Just leave that story for another video, okay? For another day. We're gonna get into it. But guys, the West is in danger, and I can't stop myself from showing you what is going on. It is disheartening. It is saddening, and it is going on right as I speak to you right now.
Because the Muslims are the executors of God's wrath in this world, they have the responsibility, not just they're exhorted to or encouraged to, but they have the responsibility before Allah to be the executors of His wrath and to punish the Christians, to allow Allah to punish the Christians through them. This is the foundation of modern day jihad.
The responsibility of punishing the disbelievers, keeping them away from misguiding people, is given to the believers on earth. If the believers stick to the guidance, follow the deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will aid them, will support them against the disbelievers, and through the act of jihad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish the disbelievers, the hypocrites. It has to happen at the hands of the believers, the jihad.
Even if the Christians and the Jews are polite, virtuous, just, magnanimous, and kind to the Muslims, they still have this imperative to fight against them and subjugate them. And this has been so throughout the history of Islam.
Allah said, I shall prevail, and my messengers, and obviously their followers. The greatest crime ever is committed against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when humans disbelieve in Him. Allah says disbelief is one camp. Is one camp. The biggest crime ever is kufr and disbelief and shirk. And someone who commits the biggest crime, then it goes without saying,
if the people on the top deck don't stop the people on the lower deck, if those that are obeying Allah don't stop the disobedience of Allah, what happens? They drown together.